But I always feel like you should have more than one guy on the go in the beginning stages. I cannot stand when I've been talking to you, dating you for like a few weeks, a few months, and you're calling me baby. Like, who's your baby? I can't. He literally picked me up in his Ferrari, drove me 2 minutes down the road and dropped me on the curb. Hey beautiful people, I'm Mimi Just Doing Me, and I'm back today to answer your questions. I asked you guys to write me, send me some questions all about dating. That's all we're talking about today, about my love life, about your love life, about generally. We're gonna get into it straight away. I'm Mimi Just Doing Me. We are looking good, we are feeling good. Make sure you subscribe before you go and enjoy this video. Don't forget to comment below. Okay guys, so the first question I have today is from V2B 2010, and she's talking about dating burnout. The question is all about, you know, let me read it perfectly. How do you manage to balance meeting different people and keeping your options open whilst you do without feeling overwhelmed? I think this is such a good question. Obviously, these are my opinions. You know, everybody can do as they please, but I always feel like you should have more than one guy on the go in the beginning stages. This is because if somebody lets you down, you know, you don't feel too bad. There's another option that, like, you know, if you want to go out, there's somebody else that can keep you busy. Also, it stops you from investing everything into one person at the start, because if you've only got one option, they're going to be the ones that you're texting. You're wondering why they're not texting you. You start to obsess. But if you've got different people, it's like, oh, okay, well, you're not texting me, I'll text you. And that way you can keep it very chill. You don't get too about one guy, and that scares men away. So the more options you have, and best believe most men are dating more than you at the start, unless you guys have had a conversation. It's generally what it is. I usually think 3 is a good number, but sometimes maybe only 2. So for me, when I was younger, I loved getting dressed up, going out for dates. I could do like 5 dates in a week, you know, probably not with 5 different guys, but you know, I just loved going out for dating. Now I really don't feel like I have the time, especially if like they're going to be a disappointment. So for me now, what I like to do is I really like to weed it out, you know, as much as I can before I meet them. It doesn't always work, especially if you're meeting someone online, but do your research, fact check, ask for pictures, ask for videos, ask for social media, get a good idea of who the person is, just to save yourself time from going there and they turn up to be nothing like you've expected. Certainly happened to me recently. You know, but also if you're feeling like you're having a lot of bad dates, nothing wrong with putting the dating apps down for a month, 2 months. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you feel like 3 is too much, whittle it down to 2 until you're happy with just the one guy. But yeah, I would just say find out as much as you can before you meet them. Don't waste your time, because that will really like depress you if it's not what you thought it was going to be. And also don't get invested too quickly, because men can be disappointments. So yeah, that's my best advice. So Yameleth Diaz asked a question about physical touch during dating, especially in the beginning stages when you're still deciding if you like the guy. What touches are more provocative than others, and which are safe? Okay, that's a really good question. So physical touch is obviously a love language. For me, it's not one of my love languages. My love languages are compliments or words of affirmation, and gifts. So those are the 2 that I like. But physical touch, to start with, I tend to not because I feel like a lot of times men can read into that. So I don't mind like a bit of hand holding, you know, on the second date. I don't mind a kiss at the end of the night if we had a really good date, but on the date, like holding hands, cuddling, probably not until we've got to like date 3 or 4, 5 before I really start like doing the little touches and gestures, unless you are trying to go there with him. But at the start, I feel like men can interpret, you know, physical touches as maybe meaning a bit more than they do. But if you want to know which ones are safe, which ones are, you know, more provocative, I would say like if you're laughing at something funny he says and you just like reach out, you know, touch his arm, touch his shoulder, that's probably quite a safe safe one. If you start touching legs, things start to get a bit more intense. If you start touching faces, like if a guy's caressing your face or you're caressing his, or neck area, I feel like that tends to be a bit more provocative. Legs as well, more provocative, and tends to have a bit more meaning than touching the arm or touching, like, you know, the hands. Like, yeah, for me those are probably safer options. I hope I answered your question, girl. You're just complimenting me, that's so kind. Okay, so Nana Amma, this is a good question. She says, can I speak on women's standards and the requirements, the ones that are necessary in a long-term partner versus the standards and requirements that, you know, are just surface level? Now this is really good because for me, I had to really evaluate what was absolutely necessary and what was just surface level earlier at the start of the year. You really have to ask yourself, what can you do without? If this guy doesn't bring this to the table, is it a deal breaker? For me, intellectual capacity, being smart. You don't have to be a genius, but you need to be able to hold a good conversation. That is such a deal breaker for me. If a guy cannot, you know, formulate opinions, can't express himself, isn't articulate, I get turned off so quickly. So for me, that's a deal breaker. But everybody's gonna have their individual one, so you really have to note it down to you. I would say some really cool ones that I think will apply to a lot of people is attraction. Whether or not you find them to be the most attractive person in the world, I've certainly dated guys that other people didn't think were that attractive, but I always said they appealed to me. You know, that attraction between the two of you needs to be there. Also, loyalty. Loyalty is so important for like the long run. Are you dating someone whose eyes are always wandering, who's always looking for the next best thing? Communication. If you're having problems, if he's not happy, is he able to express it to you in a manner that is actually conducive to working things out, in a manner that's actually going to help both of you figure it out? Or is he the type of person that when he's not happy, he's going to shout at you, he's going to scream at you, or he's just going to ignore you? Like, lack of communication. That communication is so important. So for me, attraction, loyalty, communication, those are three things that, like, I think generally across the board appeal to most everybody. But for me specifically, I would say cultured. I like a guy who's cultured. I like a guy who travels, speaks different languages, you know, likes different types of food, you know, has experienced different types of experiences. I don't want to take you to a nice restaurant and you're looking at me like, which cutlery should I use? You know, so that's something that's specific to me. I also like a guy who understands my love languages, who understands that I like to be complimented, who understands that I like getting gifts and can speak to me in those languages. And I like a guy who's also family orientated, you know, who is close with his family, not someone that just can just cut off his friends and family like that. And I also like somebody that is very independent, like they have their own friends, they have their own social life. They're not going to be looking to me, you know, to spend every single day with. I don't like that. Greta B says she loves my look. Thank you, girl. And she says, has the mummy bug bit me yet? I would say it's definitely like been getting at me this last year. I feel like, you know, I'm 30 in a few weeks. I feel like I'm definitely nearing ready to think about, like, I don't see myself actually having a baby until 2 years from now, but it does, you don't just have a baby. At least I don't just have a baby, you know. Like, you gotta plan, meet somebody hopefully, or at least like have financially the things in place to do it by yourself or whatever. But yeah, I see kids now and I'm like, oh, I want one. I'm like thinking, oh, I can convert my spare bedroom into a nursery. Like, yeah, I think it's definitely started to hit me, but it's not something that's going to happen unless God just does that. I don't see it happening for another 2 years, but if it did happen straight away, I definitely wouldn't be upset. Lily says, has your hot girl summer presented you with a snack or a meal? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I feel like I had a really good date the other day, but I've not seen him since. We are talking and texting, but so far I wouldn't say a snack just yet. Hot girl summer could do a lot better. We need to work on it, okay? So, but hopefully there's more to come now that this heat wave is really getting it on. Yolakazi Ganiwe says, when is it too soon to call your partner by a pet name or baby? Because for me personally, it's just off-putting when a guy I haven't dated for a long time calls me that. I can definitely relate. I cannot stand when I've been talking to you, dating you for like a few weeks, a few months, and you're calling me baby. Like, who's your baby? I can't. So for me, I feel like I'm probably a slow burner. Some people do it a lot quicker. I think I would go to babe first, but babe is something I say to my girlfriends, but I probably wouldn't call a guy babe until like 3 months down the line. And then anything more serious than that, probably not until like I'm so secure in like how he feels about me and how I feel about him. I would say maybe more towards like 5-6 months down the line. But babe for me, I could probably do a few months in, but that's about it. I'm not one of those, so yeah, don't call me baby. Haley Miles says, online dating, what sites and tips can you give? And she also says, I look amazing, thanks boo. Online dating sites to use: Bumble, the women are more in control. Tinder, you get a lot more options, but Tinder tends to be the one that, you know, men are often just looking for something casual. A new one that the last guy dated put me onto is called Hinge, and I found that that is really good. There's no like swiping involved, and each party has to say more about themselves. You know, you can't just put an empty profile, one picture. I think there's a mandatory like 6 pictures on each profile, which I think is so important. You get a better understanding of who this person is, and they actually have to like answer questions about themselves as well. So Hinge for me is probably the one that I would recommend to all of you. T Christina J asked the same question, so back to you again. Hinge, I have used Inner Circle quite a few times in the past, but that's invite only. But the one that I do use the most is Tinder, just because it's just got a wider, like it's just got so many men on there. And if I'm traveling and I want to meet someone in Portugal or wherever I'm going, Tinder's good because you can actually swipe in a different location if you pay the extra amount, and you can get yourself a date even before you get there. I have been known to do that. Lygia K says, hey Mimi, are you open to dating older men? Girl, I prefer dating older men. Like for me, as I'm 29, the ideal age for me to be dating a guy now would be 37, 38. So almost 10 years older than me. I like that. I've always been attracted to older men. Dance, sex, music, hip hop says, you love this look, thank you. DA says, you did not come to play. No, I did not. Lamonda says, how to do long distance relationships. Okay, long distance relationships are tough. I would say they're even tougher if financially you guys don't have the means to see each other all the time. You need to have good lines of communication, so Wi-Fi, Skype, FaceTime, whatever, those channels need to be open. You need to be able to speak to each other regularly. You need to, like, I don't know, constant communication for me is the key. But I would say long distance relationships are less likely to work if they start off long distance. So I feel like you need to have a really good foundation first, like you guys have been in a relationship for a while, and then maybe one of you moves away and then you just make it work. You've got that solid foundation to have that trust, you know, and because trust is a big thing. That person isn't near you, you probably don't see them that often, you're wondering what is going on. So yeah, I would say definitely not something I would really want to do anymore, unless we've been together for quite a while before things go long distance. But if you are in a long distance relationship, you have to make sure you work on trust. Do not give each other any reason to doubt each other. Don't be out here on Instagram liking random men's pics and vice versa. Make sure you're communicating. If you're not speaking to that person tonight and you normally would, just like, babe, I'm tired, I'll text you first thing in the morning. Don't have them waiting up all night like, what is he doing, what are you doing? Most important things to me: communication and trust. Sidra Adele says, baddie. Hey boo. Let me see. God, you guys are just complimenting my pictures. These questions aren't about dating, so I will not be answering them, just because I said this is all about dating. Dara K14, hey boo, love you girl. She says, you look great. What date do you regret the most having? And also, have I ever fallen in love? Oh, that's a good question. What dates do I regret the most having? I think that Ferrari millionaire guy I did a story time about, that it literally lasted like 3 minutes. Like, he literally picked me up in his Ferrari, drove me 2 minutes down the road and dropped me on the curb. That is probably the one I regret having, because it took me hours to get ready, hours to get there, and then it was like 3 minutes. It just wasn't worth my time. But you live, you learn. Have I ever been in love? I would say no. There was one guy that I thought I was in love with. In hindsight, I don't think I actually was. I think I've got a very obsessive personality. If I like you, like, I can get very obsessed. Like, oh my god, like, what are you doing? Like, stalking your social media, all that kind of stuff. But being in love, no, I don't think I have. Dewey B says, post the Q&A already, please. Haha, girl, I just filmed it, but it will go live tomorrow. Okay. Tessa Williams says, when do you think is the right age, in your opinion, to settle down, get married and start having kids? I think that has to be very individual to every person. For me, I knew that I wanted to do so many different things before that happened. I wanted to travel, I wanted to get all my degrees, get my education, have my career going. There were a lot of things I wanted to do before that, but there are other people that are not career minded, you know, or they are, but getting married and having kids is the most important thing. Everybody's got different priorities, so it really depends on you where that falls for you. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be married and having kids at 21. Absolutely nothing wrong. You have to know what makes you happy and go for it. Me personally, if I had to do very general, I would say there are definitely things that you cannot do when you have a kid, or you cannot do as easily with a kid. So like, you can't just go on holiday. Like, you have to plan ahead. It's more costly. Babysitters, nights out, there's a lot of things that go into having a kid. It does really change your life. So I would say travel as much as you can, date as much as you can before you settle down to all of that, because that will change your life. So I feel like if you want to have a kid at 26, I feel like you've got a good few years that you've had to do different things. So I think 26, 27, nobody can knock you for doing it then. Me personally, I know I didn't really want kids until my 30s, because I'm selfish like that. But that's me personally. You guys are like, you look amazing, wow, so much sauce, looking good and fabulous, girl is a 10 out of 10. Y'all just came to gas me. Where are your questions? Highly Favoured says, hey Mimi, first and foremost, you look gorgeous, thank you. She says she's never been on a dating app before, but after watching my video, she's been considering it. So what are the do's and what are the don'ts? I would say the do's are to have as many pictures as you can. The more pictures you have, the more of a reality you paint for that person. They can figure out whether or not it's a yes or a no. You're not wasting each other's time. What I would say, don't present a false impression of yourself. You know, if you're a bigger girl, don't just do a face art, because trust me, men are brutal and they're rude. If you're not what they expected when they get there, they will let you know it. You know, so have as many photos as you can, but be honest in your photos. If you're looking for a husband and kids, don't write that on your profile. That will scare people away, you know. So just keep it super chill. Write a bit about yourself. Definitely write your interests, because it will help you whittle down the men that are actually looking for something serious, because they will read your profile and they will try and start conversations based on your interests. So I always write, I like to travel, I like to eat, you know, and it gives men an easy way in when they want to start a conversation with me, like, oh, have you got any travel plans for the year, etc. And also, do not be afraid to message the guy you like. Do not wait for men to message you, and because that just means that you're replying to the men that are interested in you, and you're not actually going out there and having conversations with men that you are interested in necessarily. So yeah, those are my top tips. Have as many photos as you can. Be honest in your photos. Write about yourself in your profile. Do not scare men away by, I want kids, I want something serious, blah blah blah. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm not looking for fun. I always write that on my profile. I'm not looking for fun, I'm not looking for anything casual, so please don't bother. Thank you very much. Hopefully that helps. Renee Pearl says, what star sign am I? I am a Virgo. Thanks, boo. And I think I've gone through all the questions, so a lot of comments here, but most of them were just gassing me up. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I answered your questions. Let me know your thoughts as well on dating apps. What are your favorites? Which ones would you definitely not use? Which ones would you recommend? Oh, I actually talked a lot about the free ones, but also if you're looking for something serious, you've got a bit of extra coin, I would say Match.com is a good one. You do pay for it, but it tends to be men that are looking for something serious on there because they're spending their money. And there's another one, eHarmony, as well. So those are also two good ones, but they are paid for as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Classic. Oh, na, na, na. Oh.